Hey everyone, and welcome to the 20s Girls podcast. Today we're talking about healing, and I'm actually going to share with you some of my story of my healing journey. I've had some struggles with chronic pain and endometriosis and kidney stones and all kinds of random weird little things, but my hope today is that this story just shares encouragement with you and gives you just tools in your tool belt of how to heal and be whole. We even talked to about like how to walk with people who are walking through hard things. Mm-hmm. So even if you're not the person who's walking through these circumstances, I for surely know that you have someone in your life that you're walking with. So we hope that this podcast encourages you today. Let's get to it. Hey, welcome to the podcast, everybody. We're back. And today we're going to talk about my health journey.
Liv's health journey.
I honestly haven't talked about it in a really long time, so
yeah,
we'll see how it goes. But we got to start things off on a much lighter note.
Mm-hmm.
So if you listened to last week, you heard that we're trying to grow in our fidgeting because we're little fidgeters on this podcast. And we got a little bit of that spazzy girl inside of us.
Uh-huh.
And so we decided to help ourselves this week, and we have fidget toys for each other. Which, it was actually very hard to find a fidget toy because I forgot to order one. And then last night we were at Target, and I looked through every aisle, and I just could not find anything that was speaking to me. But then we ended up going to Five Below, and I found like one thing.
Oh.
But it's funny.
Wait, that's funny. See, I did look on Amazon last week, and they were all like $12.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, oh, I'm sorry, Liv. And then I forgot to look at the store.
Uh-huh.
So this morning I thought of one, though, that I had in my house.
Okay.
Do you want me to go first?
Sure, you can go first.
Okay. Your fidget for today is a mini nail buffer. You can squish it. You could buff your nails. But you actually shouldn't buff your nails because you just got them done.
Oh, I do like this. This is perfect.
But you can like scratch it.
Okay, this is perfect. I like.
Isn't that cute?
Yours
though?
is a bit dramatic. Okay. Let me just sort of
I
put it in
have
my bag.
no idea what it is. For some
right.
reason, I think it's a turtle.
It is a sensory pick and pull.
Whoa.
So, okay, let's just open it up. So this, if you're not watching, it's like a little round, like pancake-shaped thing, and it has little beads inside of it. And you can, I don't know if you're even gonna like this.
Yeah, we'll find out. Oh, is it kind of like...
You can like literally pick the beads out.
Oh, so it's kind of like a pimple sort of situation.
It's kind of like a pimple sort of
Oh, this reminds me of those bead things we'd make as kids that you would iron together.
You almost need like a little cup to like...
A little tray to put the beads in. Well...
Let's try to find... Just here, you can use this cup of mine. So
fascinating.
You pop them in the cup. Maybe it's a bit much.
Well, now I have no nails.
Oh, shoot. I don't know.
But I can go like this.
I'm pretty stoked about having fidget toys. I think what we should do is we should make a little fidget basket, and as we acquire them, we can have a little basket in here.
Have something to choose from.
Oh, no, the beads.
The beads.
I was like, oh, this looks kind of fun, though.
Uh-huh. No, this is good. Honestly, need to get some... Like, we need just more toys and things like that, so...
Wow.
I'll be on the lookout.
Yeah, I need to buy a pack off Amazon, like just like a pack of a bunch of them.
I do just like how this feels. I want to just fold it, but I'm fearful that that's going to explode it.
Yeah, it could.
But this is good. I will keep it on my lap.
We're going to be locked in this episode, ladies.
Absolutely locked in.
But, okay, let me put my phone down so I don't get to see all of these messages that roll through. Also, quick interjection before we start. I just got on the Aloha bar grind.
Oh, I've never tried that.
They're pretty clean. I think they do have a little bit of seed oil in it and some cane sugar. Actually, maybe they have a little bit more sugar than I anticipated, 4 grams.
Oh.
But high in protein, 14 grams, and they're really yummy if you want to taste. It's like brownie.
Interesting.
Yeah, they're really good. So I feel like just a good change of pace.
Uh-huh.
One of the girls that we know that does TikTok shops, she sells a ton of Aloha bars. So that's how I found out about them. But now I'm...
Not bad.
Yeah, they're really
It reminds
good.
me of something I had as a kid.
What?
I don't know.
Oh, just like kind of nostalgic vibes.
Yeah, there's something it reminds me of. I don't know what it is.
The cookie dough flavor I've tried, and that's really good. And then our friend suggested the peanut butter cup, so I bought that one too. But
yeah,
anyways.
Sometimes you just get sick of the protein bars.
I know.
I cannot touch a Go Macro bar these days.
I know, me either. Yeah, we just ate them for quite literally 3 years straight. And
like
now,
one a day for 3 years.
But yeah, it's tough. But they're good.
Yeah.
Just don't overdo them. I feel like I'm trying to diversify a bit, but.
Yeah, I do really like the raw bars.
Oh yeah, I haven't tried that yet.
It's good. The variety pack was good, but the cookie dough is hands down the
best.
The best.
Just drop the beat.
Every once in a while.
Oh my gosh, I'll
just
that.
Drop them on the floor, vacuum them, so I'm not distracting.
I love it. I really like mine so far too. I'm like getting after it down here.
If only there's a camera under the table and it's our hands just like going crazy.
Oh, I love it. It's fun.
Okay. Well,
hey, we're talking about my health story.
Liv's health. This is actually, I need to put it on the ground so I don't drop it. I'm already hooked. Your health story. I feel like there's so much that you could share and will be able to share.
Yep.
But it would be good to give the people a flyover of your life.
Let's give a flyover, because I'm not just a crunchy girl for nothing. I just want to start off. I don't just do all of these, have all these crazy hot takes that I share on here all the time just for funsies, just because it's cutie. Because it's like. trendy. Like, we've done these things out of necessity, ladies.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I guess I don't really know where to start, but I guess I'll start off, I'll start off in me being a wee little girl.
A little girl.
So, my whole life, I always had tummy aches, okay? Like, for as long as I can remember, I have, like, a lot of memories as a kid. At the very end of the night, I would be, like, over the toilet feeling like I was going to throw up all the time. And my parents were the best and, obviously took me to the doctors and tried to figure out a solution and figure out what's going on. Normally, the only thing that they would ever find is that I was super constipated. Yeah. And that's been something I've had my entire life. Like, I've always been just, like, a constipated little gal. And so, I remember, like, going on, like, different, like, laxatives and stuff as a kid to, like, go to the bathroom more. And they thought maybe that was what was causing my nausea. But, yeah, I always would have, like, grumpy tummies, hurty tummies. I wouldn't poop, or I would, like, have really bad poopy. And, yeah, that just kind of, like, went on forever. And we, like I said, we tried finding a solution, but there really wasn't anything crazy. And I would get tested for, like, allergies and see if I had celiac disease or if I had any other allergies, and nothing would ever come back. So we just always assumed that I was good. But I think now looking back at that, I think it was a combination of just some, like, major dysbiosis in my stomach, because I was on a ton of antibiotics as a kid from, like, chronic ear infections, and I think that was really hard on me. But then also I think I was just a very anxious, dysregulated kid. And I've always been a feeler. Like, I am that girl who feels things very deeply. I'm very empathetic, and I think that I was more anxious than I thought.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I remember even we knew each other since we were 7, and almost every single sleepover I'd go to, I would be so anxious and I would never be able to stay the night because I was just so scared. And I think that, even though, like, this is so funny. There's, like, Megan's, like, popping the beads and they're falling
on the ground. You can just hear the little pin drop.
Oh my gosh, it's actually so funny. What if we got into making fidgets? It's, like, our next business endeavor.
Wow, that could be fun.
That could be fun.
Like, how would we even make them?
I don't know.
Next time we have to make homemade ones.
Yes, well, okay, homemade fidgets next podcast. But yeah, so then I guess moving then to high school, and then, like, you started going through puberty and stuff, and I immediately, like, when I started getting my period, I had, like, a lot of acne. And so I remember, like, going on the pill for that right away to, like, help with the acne and help with my bad period pain. So I feel like I didn't realize like how dysregulated my period was because I went onto birth control from like a pretty young age. But then in high school, I really started to develop a ton of chronic pain. I had it, I think, a lot throughout my life, but then in high school, it got really, really bad, where I would be like, I wouldn't be able to move or walk, or I'd come home from practices and I would just be like crying and just like could not get my pain under control. And at the time I was actually taking a ton of like Tylenol and pain meds to help that pain, and that was like a very regular part of my routine. And we tried doing all the things, like I went to PT and did dry needling and like all kinds of random interventions for that.
You had the like little electric.
Yeah, the electric machines, and there was like these weird patches. I mean, we tried so many things to help me with all the pain that I experienced. And we even like went to some specialists down in Milwaukee a few times. My mom was like super incredible about advocating for me, and she like really fought for me, which I'm so grateful for, because it was just a really, really long journey of trying to figure out what the heck was wrong with me. But I got tested for like rheumatoid arthritis and Lyme's and like all of these autoimmune diseases, and none of those things came back. But eventually I saw this specialist, and then I found out like through a ton of testing, and it was kind of this weird, crazy story where I actually ended up getting diagnosed with a connective tissue disorder. But how I got diagnosed was like the most, honestly, like godsend way, because I was at like a pain doctor for pain, and they were doing a heart scan on me, like just your basic, let's listen to your
like
heartbeat.
Echo.
And when they were listening to my heartbeat, they noticed like something was off with it, and so they immediately sent me over to a cardiologist. And then they found out that there was some things that were like not quite normal with my heart, which then led them to figuring out that I had a connective tissue disorder, which then explained why I was experiencing so much pain. That was confirmed with a bunch of genetic testing, found out that is something that does get passed along in my family. And yeah, it was like this crazy long journey of like a few years to getting to the point of getting a diagnosis. And the connective tissue disorder is called Ehlers-Danlos. And it's actually a really interesting thing, because I bet there are people listening to this podcast who have Ehlers-Danlos, because it's become much more common. And it's very interesting because it can express itself very differently. So it can be a very scary thing for a lot of people. And I know a ton of people who, or I shouldn't say a ton of people, but I do know a few people who suffer like in awful ways through this connective tissue disorder. And by the grace of God, although I have lots of struggles because of it, as of right now, my life looks pretty normal. But it was a journey trying to like, I guess, just navigate that and navigate the fact that I was like living in chronic pain. And then time came on, and there was other things that started happening to me. Like I started getting really bad ovarian cysts, and they would rupture, and I would go to the ER because I was in so much pain. And then it ended up finding out that I had endometriosis, and then that was kind of all through high school, and had a few surgeries and procedures for that. Then I had my kidney stone era.
Oh my goodness.
Which was like this awful 6 years of my life, 5 years of my life, where I would get a kidney stone like every other year, every year. And that's doozy, boys. That was really bad. And honestly, that's a whole story in itself that I'm honestly not going to even go into right now. But yeah. But then I guess once I would start to like navigate and get better with some of my, chronic pain and illnesses, I would find myself just kind of never really fully healing or having a good quality of life from anything. And it was hard for me to just like engage with people and to live my life. And sometimes when it would get flared up, it would knock me so far down that I was just like really depressed and anxious and just really couldn't do a whole lot. And so with that being said, there was a point where I was like, I need to figure something out because I don't want my life to be like this. And I don't want to believe that this is just how the rest of my life is going to look like. Is me being in chronic pain literally all the time. And so that's when I just started doing a ton of research because I started to learn more about just how Ehlers-Danlos really causes an abundance of inflammation in your body. And I was like, well, how do I decrease my inflammation? Yeah. And that's when I started kind of in my healing journey, was from that point. So I don't know, it's kind of a lot of random stuff, but I say all of this because I actually don't suffer like I used to because of a lot of the interventions that I've taken. And I feel like I've actually learned so much through suffering with like chronic pain for so long that I don't know, I'm really passionate about helping people heal. And what's really cool is my name, Olivia, I just recently learned like a year ago that it actually means, like, if you were to boil it down to like the biblical meanings of things, it literally means like light of the world and healing, which I was like, that's so cool because those are like some of the things I'm like most passionate about in life. And I just love helping people on their healing journey. Like, I'm really passionate about it. And so, yeah, that's kind of the backstory of my life or my, like, healing journey. But I think I covered most of it.
Yeah.
I'm getting hot.
It's valid. This room, there's a heat vent right behind us, and it sometimes just
and I'm wearing gray, and I probably am sweating. That's okay.
Pumps at us.
Oh, I feel so much better.
But yeah, I feel like you pretty much covered it. It's crazy just being friends with you since we were kids, like thinking back on so much of life. Because I feel like when you're a kid, when somebody around you that's a peer is sick or in pain, you don't really understand it or have like empathy or compassion for it. It's like, I remember it being very hard to comprehend, or I don't even think I ever fully recognized that you were hurting, where I was like, oh, I know Liv goes to the doctor all the time and I've visited her in the hospital multiple times, but I never like registered that was pain, I feel like. And so I feel like now growing up, it's been, and then living together when you had your flare up and things like that has been just like a whole new learning curve of like who you are and what your life has been. And now what you feel so passionate about just makes so much sense because I feel like God just has the unique way of like taking the things that we've gone through and that have been super hard and challenging and then like allowing you to have such a heart for those people. Yeah. And you just have way more compassion and understanding than somebody who hasn't like walked through it. And so
and that's just God's way of doing things, where he's gonna he never intended, the Lord's intent is not for me to suffer like at all. He has really incredibly pure and perfect intentions for me and wants me to be healed and whole and pain-free, but obviously the world and the devil has like contorted that, and that is why we suffer. But this is where God's redemption comes into place, because he'll take those nasty things that happen to you that were never supposed to be the way they were, and he makes something good out of it. And so, yes, it's no coincidence that I have suffered a lot, and because of that, one of my biggest passions in life is helping people heal, because he's redemptive and he's going to redeem the struggles that we have. So, yeah, I freaking love, like, I don't know, we all have our things that we're good at. Like, I feel like you're so good at discipleship, like for instance, is one of the things that stands out to me. Like, you're such a good, like, walking with women and like helping them grow and develop, and like being a teacher. One of the things that I feel like God has like really gifted me is I like love helping sick people. Like, it's just kind of a thing where it just comes naturally, where I think like, for instance, for you, it's come so naturally to like be teaching and educating and like coaching. And like, I think that's so cool. Like, just trying to identify like what are those areas of life where you're like, no, I got this. Not that we have all the answers, but we've been given like gifts in it, I guess, if that makes sense.
For sure. And I think you've seen so much like affirmation even in that, where God has literally just brought people into your life in crazy ways who are sick or who are struggling or who are in need of healing, and you're able to like meet them in that. And so it's cool too, where it's like you have the heart for it, but you don't even always have to do much to get yourself in a space to like serve or love on somebody in that way.
That's so true. He kind of just plops it in your lap.
Yeah. But whether you want it or not.
Yeah, whether you want it or not.
Here you go.
Here you go.
Oh, no, that's good. I feel like we've talked so much on this podcast about food and just like that side of wellness and how much that does impact our bodies and our body's ability to heal and supporting our bodies, especially when there's a ton of inflammation, like not putting more food in our bodies that are going to increase inflammation. But I feel like something we haven't dove into a ton is like the mental mind side of things. Like I know for you, just with the chronic pain, like a lot of it too is a mental battle. Like it is something that isn't necessarily visible. Like no one would see you and think, oh, she's sick necessarily, or even like know what's going on. And so how has just like the mind game of it been?
For sure. Yeah, I feel like I need a little bit of grace as I process through this because I haven't really talked about it before, even though, like you said, it's a big part of my healing journey, and I would say maybe the biggest piece of my healing journey. But I feel like I need a little bit of grace because it's, I don't know how to say it. I'm going to try to be as honest as I can be, but obviously I don't know all the answers. Yeah. And this is just talking about my experience, and I don't want to, like, be insensitive to people. But, yeah, I've realized and I've learned through, like, hours and hours of, like, studying, listening to podcasts, reading books, attending, you know, classes and whatnot on stuff like this, that your mind and your body connection is one of the, like, most important connections in your body, and how it's, like, so closely connected and related. So although I have a genetic disorder, like, I have literally genetic testing to prove it, and like all the proof in the world that says there was something actually wrong with you, I've learned that I've had to, like, let go of my grip with that truth, if that makes sense. So, for instance, also, are both of our mics on?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, you're just not talking.
Yep.
Sorry. I was like, your mic is not on. That's so funny. Sorry about that. Yeah, so although there's something wrong with me and I for surely have pain in my body, one of the things that I've really been working on is letting go of the pain and almost not identifying with it. So when I feel a really strong pain sensation, I actually just basically tell my body, no, you don't need to feel that sensation right now. Like, I literally will tell the pain in my body to stop, which I know sounds really weird, but it's not weird because it actually works. So over the last probably 2 years, although I'm talking about my health journey today and I'm talking about the things that are wrong with me, I actually don't talk about it very much, and I choose to not talk about it because when I talk about it, it actually makes it worse. There's definitely a time and a place where you need consoling and you need support and you need counsel. You need to talk about it with a professional. But have released the identity that I'm a girl who struggles with chronic pain all the time. Like, people don't know that about me unless it comes up. Like, unless there's something, like, super specific that happens that I, like, need to talk about it. So that has been huge. And just regulating my nervous system in general, which your nervous system is a really interesting wiring that has been, you know, created throughout our body. You probably have heard of fight or flight before, and just the state of being in this, they call it a sympathetic state in your body. So that's kind of like this protective mode that we're in, that our body has, or God created this sympathetic state of our body to protect us from harm, to protect us. It's basically to protect us from something bad happening. But one of the things that's interesting is we don't need to be in this place all the time, the sympathetic state of just fight or flight. We need to actually be in the parasympathetic part of our body, which is the rest and digest portion, and we should be in that the majority of the time. And we should only be in our sympathetic when there is truly danger.
Yeah.
But I think for me, because I was this highly sensitive kid, I have a big emotional heart. I think I actually ended up being wired from a really young age to be in my sympathetic all the time. And so my body has never really done like a great job in the past with recovering and resting. And so that's been a huge part of my journey the last few years, is learning how to tap into my sympathetic portion of my body and to actually be in a rested state and to know that I'm not in danger. I am safe. My body is a safe space. I'm healed and whole in the Lord, and I don't have to be constantly on edge all the time.
Yeah.
But I think when you grow up and you have stomach aches all the time and you feel like you're going to throw up all the time and you're anxious all the time, your body starts to kind of hardwire itself into believing that I'm not okay. And then when you find out that you have a genetic disorder that actually can cause a ton of harm to your body throughout your life, you start to think, oh, I'm not okay. I'm unsafe here. And then you find out that this diagnosis has happened and this diagnosis and then this one and then this surgery, this procedure, this doctor's appointment, this, that. And then all of a sudden you're like, there is something wrong with me in my body. I am not safe. And then you live in that. And then what happens, I think, for me is that just exasperated my pain and my dysfunction. Instead of allowing my body to recognize, yes, this is something that is wrong with you, but we are going to take these measures of healing and we are going to cultivate peace within inside of ourselves. And the Lord is healing me and there is hope for me. And this body actually is really, it's a beautiful creation, and God created it to be able to heal itself in many ways. And it's very resilient and it's very strong and it's peaceful. And this is not how I have to continue to wire myself anymore. So I feel like that's been a huge part of my journey.
Yeah.
But it's a tough one and it's a vulnerable one, because when you have pain and you've experienced consistent, high levels of pain throughout your life, and then for you to have to stop identifying with that, it actually is so hard. Because what you're experiencing is super valid and it's super real. And you start to find this level of peace and comfort in the fact that, yes, there is something wrong with me, because it validates the fact that it validates your experience. So when you actually start to let go of that identity, it'll kind of feel like a small death inside of you. And you'll maybe have to even work through, I know for me, where you can start to believe these lies that you're not seen or you're not, just what you're experiencing isn't valid. But you kind of have to fight through that, because on the other side, there's actually an abundance of healing and an abundance of what you're actually looking for. And it feels kind of a bit woo-woo to be oh, am I actually gonna feel better by just stopping identifying with this? But for real, I can guarantee you that you will at least make some progress. Yeah, it's just so interesting. This is genuinely some of the biggest scientific studies that are happening right now are related to pain and the perception of pain. And it's super interesting stuff, and I've been loving learning about it because it actually means more freedom in life for me. So I've done some weird stuff.
No, that makes sense. I don't know if this is going to be the right question, but would you say that when you are identifying with it, there is in a sense comfort of identifying with it and people seeing that, or
yeah, for sure. Yeah, this is where I feel I need a lot of grace, because this is my experience, and I don't want to undermine others, but there's totally comfort in it, because you're genuinely unwell. This is where it's so complicated. You're genuinely unwell, and if you don't know how to cope with being unwell, one of the best ways to cope is just having people see you and know you. But what I've learned is you can have people see you and know you and love you without having to make it your whole world, if that makes sense. But yeah, it's, I don't know. I don't want to use the words victim, but this is where I feel like I just need so much sensitivity. Like I need so much grace because
yeah.
And for me, sometimes it really was me being a victim to my own circumstances. And I love listening to a lot of people who just like speak into like these sorts of topics. And one of the things they say is, it's not my fault and it's not okay, but it's also my responsibility to steward my body and to fight for life for it.
Yeah.
And I'll do anything possible to do that well. And if that means I need to like let go of my identity with all of these things that are wrong with me, then like I'm going to do that because that's my call on my life as like a child of the Lord, to steward what I've been given well. And right now I know that means like letting go of the grip of like, yeah, that I'm unwell. And if you're a believer, you actually can like come into agreement with a lot of biblical truth about like our eternal realities that we get to live in. And I think that's something that has brought me so much peace, because although maybe today I may not be fully healed and whole here on earth, I can still identify with the fact that I am a new creation in Christ and that I'm going to be healed and whole for eternity. And it's okay for you to start coming into agreement with some of those things today.
Yeah.
And not even wait for that to come. But it's much easier said than done. And I say this from a place of, okay, this is what's ideal and this is what you should do. But the reality is that is really hard to do. And I fall short on it all the time. And I've actually been in a little bit of a tougher season where I feel like I was doing really freaking good for like a year of letting go of my identity with my chronic pain. And I actually feel like I've been struggling a little bit with it recently, because this is so interesting, but there's so much that's coming out about my genetic disorder, Ehlers-Danlos, and my algorithms quickly found me. And although education is really good and like learning about some of these things is really good, I have to have a limit to how much I can consume, because next thing I knew, I was on TikTok scrolling, learning about Ehlers-Danlos and learning about some of these things that I really do feel and experience, and it was super validating. But then I started to feel more pain.
Interesting.
And so that was tough, where I wanted to talk about it with Jacob, my boyfriend, and definitely want to share some of that with him of like the things I'm learning. But as I were to talk about it, then I was starting to realize I was actually experiencing more pain and more discomfort.
Yeah.
So it's super, super interesting where, yes, education is powerful and diagnoses are powerful, but there's a season for everything, and you can't be constantly in that state, at least if you have, you can't constantly be in that state, otherwise it will
consume you.
It'll consume you.
Yeah.
And you have to be doing a lot of like mind renewal stuff. So
I feel like social media is just such a place for like fear mongering as well.
The fear mongering.
Where, it's like you might actually have those symptoms, but some of them you maybe don't have, but can almost start to like develop in a sense, just like hearing about it.
There's like some really, so with this connective tissue disorder, it's like a deficiency in your collagen in your body. So people who experience it, it's like, our collagen is not as good as the normal person. And so there's a lot of random things like pain, dislocations. So there's some weird stuff that can happen with your heart. And there's something with like your trachea that's really scary, that it can like pop out. Anyways, super scary. And the other day I was like playing with my neck, and all of a sudden I felt this like little shift, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna die. And I was like, this is so like, I would have thought nothing of it. Which, yes, like it's good to know about some of these things, because I don't want to steward my body poorly. Like, for instance, as I'm getting older, my body is a little less resilient than it was when I was younger. I'm not the first person to go skiing anymore, because I genuinely, like, I'm very prone to dislocations and bone breaks and all of the things. And so I want to live my life, but I also want to be very cautious of when I choose to live my life. And I want to be like Mount La Crosse, here in La Crosse.
Not the vibe.
It's an icy little
danger
little ski hill, okay? Where I would be more apt to going out west, where there's actual snow and
the conditions
you're not on
are
top
safe.
of people and go skiing, but I might not necessarily go here.
Yeah.
So it's like, yes, I want to store my body well and be smart, but also I don't know if I needed to know that my trachea could like pop out really easily, because I'll probably be fine.
It likely won't.
I likely won't. And so it's stuff like that that's just, I don't know.
That
like,
makes sense.
A balance of like, what do you do with it?
Yeah.
But.
And I feel like probably too in your season of life, this isn't like a recent diagnosis.
Yeah.
So to a degree, you have like a
15 years ago, probably.
Yeah, like a baseline of like, okay, I know what this is. I kind of know what I need to do.
Yeah.
And leave some of it even to your doctors of like guiding you through steps.
Yeah.
And can kind of release it. But if it was someone just getting diagnosed, that might be in more of like the research phase of it, which is good. But
yes, you need to know, and that is empowering to some degree. But like I said, there's a season for everything. Yeah. So I feel like that would be one of my best pieces of advice is it's good to some degree search for a diagnosis, where that was really empowering for me to like actually know what was going on. But like once you know and once you have the tools, it's okay to then take a break.
Yeah. Just kind of let it go for a bit.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Something you were saying earlier, kind of jumping back to like the feelings of like kind of can become a victim to your pain and that sort of stuff. Do you feel like in a sense that when you start to like feel like a victim, that's almost like a signal that you need to like process and like grieve in a sense?
Oh, frick yeah.
Where I feel like maybe some people get stuck in that because they aren't actually processing
that's
it
so good.
and like releasing themselves of like, okay, I need to actually acknowledge that this isn't right, that this isn't how it's supposed to be, that this is hard, and like go through that whole cycle of things so that they can like move forward in a sense.
That's so good. Yeah, I feel like you said it just exactly how it is, where if you're feeling consumed by it, you need to make space to grieve. And grieving's really hard. No one likes grieving, but it is the Lord's way of healing. And I think that's something I always need to remind myself of like, we have to feel these emotions. We need to actively process through them. We need to feel all the stages of grief, sadness and anger. But then at the end of grief there is a solution, and it is just coming into agreement with truth over the circumstance, that the Lord will be with me, and like he will make me strong. And yes, this is not what it's supposed to be, but this is not my fault. And the Lord will redeem this, and I will be healed and whole. And all of these truths, like there is a destination to grief. And obviously grief can come and it can circle back through. And I definitely have seasons of grief. But if you're just, victimizing yourself with the pain and not getting to a place of like, not processing through the stages of grief and talking about it with like safe loved ones or a counselor or a therapist, it's hard to get out of that space. But you have to grieve and you have to feel through it, because it's not supposed to be this way. And if you haven't had someone tell you that, or you come into agreement with that truth, like that's, I think, one of the big first steps. It's like, it's not supposed to be this way. Period. This is not your fault. God's intention. This is not God's intention for you. Like that's a great place to start. But and I still grieve through it a lot. Like, it's a really real thing. I like break down about it frequently, not by frequently, I mean, it's become less, but every like month or 2 months, I probably have a good cry of like, this sucks. Cause it does. But at the same time, like there's nothing you can do other than fight for truth and to cultivate peace in the midst of trials. And I think there was this image one time that I heard that was just so good, of just the reality of suffering on earth is such an interesting thing, because like someday when we're in our eternal glory and we're in our eternal body, it's going to be so easy to like worship and praise the Lord and be joyful. Like it's just going to be the most natural thing. We will never feel anything other than that. but we have this tiny little sliver of opportunity to worship the Lord and be joyful in the midst of suffering. And it's this wild opportunity to, I don't know, just to go against the grain of what the enemy has intended.
Yeah.
And it can feel really powerful too when you are joyful. And when you sometimes you just like put on joy even when you don't feel it. And so I think it can be a very empowering thing as well. And empowering like in your faith with the Lord and just even in yourself of like you are strong enough to put that on.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
No, that makes sense. Yeah. Of just like declaring like who God is.
Yeah.
Even in the midst of it. Because I feel like if I had to guess that in the midst of it, like a lot of lies from the enemy are probably coming in of like, why is God not saving you? Why is he not healing you right now?
What did I do? Like, I think one of mine is just like, what did I do to inflict this? I didn't do anything to inflict this. Like, that's just the reality. It's just not that way. Yeah. And I don't fight like well all the time. I think maybe another good piece of advice if that's you is like you have to have others to fight with you and remind you of truth. And that's why it's really important to choose your friends super wisely, to communicate clearly to your friends what's going on and what you need from them, and to just have the voices in your life be ones that are pointing you to healing and not enabling you towards death. Which is because like you live in that forever and it'll kill you. Like it will make you whether it's actually physically killing you or just killing the beauty of your life. It will destroy you. And I've literally been there. Like I've been in that place and it's an awful place and it will bring you to rock bottom. And yeah, I was actually just talking with one of my loved ones this weekend about suffering because there's a few of my family members that have suffered through a ton of stuff and pain. And yeah, we talked about how if you genuinely let pain and suffering, like if you let that continue, what's so scary is it like actually will like it will kill you because suicide ideation is a real thing. Like suicidal thoughts, attempts, like that is such a real part of suffering. And that's where it's just like I think the enemy uses it all the time to try to kill us genuinely because I think he hates us and despises the fact that we know Jesus and we love the Lord and we're giving our life to the Lord. And I know that I'm light of the world. Like I know God has created me so beautifully and wonderfully, and he has given me specifically, I feel like I love cultivating beauty, cultivating light and being light. And so, yeah, it's just no surprise that this is how the enemy is like trying to attack me because he's just trying to stifle all the good that is within me. Yeah. And so I think that's the other thing. If you're walking through suffering, like I bet you, and everyone suffers in their own ways, but like if you're suffering hard, I bet you that you are like an absolute gem of a beautiful human being that God created, and he is just trying to absolutely ruin all the good that's in you, which that is like why there's going to be suffering, especially for believers. It's going to be for non-believers too, but like believers are going to suffer because there is so much light of God coming out of you, and he's just the enemy's trying to destroy it. So sometimes that helps me fight too, where I'm like, this is not a battle against flesh and blood. This is not about my body. This is about a real spiritual battle that's happening. That like will whip some or put some fire in you when you don't want to fight, to be like, this is just not about me. And this is like so much bigger picture than that. So I feel like the like simple truth in the Bible where it says like the enemy comes to steal, kill, destroy. Like just thinking about those 3 words of like what is the enemy trying to steal in my life right now, or kill or destroy. Like he's stealing my joy and like all of those things. I feel like just actually naming it is so helpful. Yeah, for sure. But that's all good. Yeah, it's good. But
when you were saying it of like, I need to have people in your corner, there's like a role on both sides of like a role of how you share and like needing to let people in, but then there's the role on the friend too to show up.
Yeah.
What like advice would you give people who are listening who maybe have not walked through chronic pain but need or have somebody in their life, or maybe in the future they'll have somebody in their life that they're walking through, of like how can they be a good friend and like show up well in a hard season?
Yeah. I feel like I'm still learning this from a friend's perspective, because I can share from like the perspective of someone who's gone through, you know, a lot of things, but like, what do I want to say here? But like this last year, I really had like the firsthand experience of actually learning what it's like to walk through suffering with someone else who's really close to you. And I realized in that process that I had a lot of growth that like needed to happen. So it's hard. It is hard to walk with someone who's suffering. Like first off, you need to take care of yourself. Like if you're the friend that's walking with a friend who's suffering, you need to get yourself grounded in truth. You need to be healed and whole. And like you need to take care of yourself first, genuinely. Like you can serve others, but like you need to be right with the Lord and like be overflowing. Otherwise you're not going to be able to actually sustain the type of endurance that you're going to need to walk with somebody. So that maybe is my first thing. Just make sure you're right with the Lord. Make sure you're taking care of yourself. But yeah, obviously just having the bravery to like talk about it and just be like, hey, I know you walk through this. What do you need from me? How can I support you? Obviously just simple communication, I think goes a really, really long way. And just actually asking your people about it. Not that you have to ask all the time, but like having it in the back of your head of like, oh, maybe I should check in on them so they don't feel completely unseen in it. But I think one of the things that you did so well for me that was like super practical when I was in like such a flare up is just you never made me feel alone in my healing journey. Where, for instance, like if I needed to completely change my diet, you were my roommate at the time and we were eating all of our meals together. You were like, perfect. Let's make gluten-free food. Like, let's get good at this. Let's have fun with this. I think that's like one of the most supportive things you can do for your loved ones who do have to like make lifestyle changes, is just supporting them in that, educating yourself, learning what gluten is, like, doing those basic things, because it's really not that hard to, even though it feels hard for everybody at first when they start in their health journey, but it's really not like finding gluten-free food or cutting back on sugar. It's just not that challenging in the grand scheme of suffering. And so I think just practically doing those like little lifestyle changes with them, or just thinking about them like when, I don't know, you guys like hang out,
just being conscious of like, maybe you're not cooking together, but if a friend comes over for dinner, like have the meal be something everybody can eat and not.
Yeah, I think it can be awkward sometimes when you need to, especially when you're first getting going with it. Like now I literally don't care if there's no gluten-free food. I'm just like, whatever, I don't care. Like, but at first to just be supportive of the people in your life that are making these massive lifestyle changes, just doing a little bit, I think can be so good. I'm trying to think of what else. Yeah, I think just being filled with truth for them so that when they're in the hardship that you can actually speak life over them is obviously super huge. And I don't know, I'm trying to think of what else.
I feel like we maybe had like a unique circumstance of being roommates. So we were really just with each other in the thick of things. But I feel like it went both ways when you were in like a hard season with your health, but then me when I lost my dad. Like there would be times of like there's nothing to say or do. Like I just need to sit with you or vice versa.
Be a friend.
Yes.
It's not that deep.
Yeah. Just having to just like simply be there and show up and like even if there isn't anything to say.
Yeah. One of the things too, I think when there's people who are suffering with chronic pain, I feel like there needs to just be like some grace for them too, where I know that there were seasons of life where I felt like I was kind of like just fighting for my life a little bit.
Yeah.
Fighting for like my life in the terms of like, it just took so much out of me to just do the basics. And I think as a friend, obviously if you don't have the Lord, this is really hard, but just being servants to each other, of just not expecting much from each other, which is really tough. And I think it takes a lot of like heart work, but know that there could be people who are just genuinely fighting to like get up and to like have peace in their heart throughout the day, and just having some grace for them. Yeah. Because there's so much that they might be battling behind the scenes. And so I think just trying to serve people well. And it goes both ways. Even if you're someone who's suffering, you still can love and serve people and show up for them. And it probably will actually make you feel a lot better if you just take your eyes off yourself for a little bit and take care of somebody else. But at the same time, it's just, I think, important to not have these like really have healthy expectations for your friends, but you never know what people are walking through. And it can be really hard when there's like all these big expectations on you and you literally have nothing to give. So I think that's where I really encourage you to just be well within yourself and be whole, and don't have like expectation for the other person to make you whole. I think is one of the things that I think about that I had to really learn with like my friends and with myself, and even with myself with helping another loved one in my life who's walking through a ton. I feel like that's just some of the biggest lessons I had to learn that are the most challenging to learn. And I feel like I'm still learning how to do that well. Yeah. But
no, that all makes sense. Yeah. It's good. It's hard.
It's hard, guys. We say all this and it's not easy. Yeah. You need support. You need community. If you have a lot of pain, you should definitely if you don't have someone you're like professionally talking with, would recommend that. Make sure they're trained in like pain, because you don't want them to be enabling you either. They helping you. But I guess there's like 2 resources that I also think that are super good if you are struggling with pain, or like honestly anything like anxiety, pain, because renewing your mind is something that's super important, and the Lord actually commands us to do that so many times in the Bible. It's like one of the most important things that we do. But how do you actually practically renew your mind? There's a program, I've never like fully done it, but I take elements of it and I use it quite often, and it's called DNRS. It's like dynamic neuro retraining system. There's a lot of things that are like it as well, that you can find online, but it's all about telling your body to like stop feeling the pain, and to tell your body that it's safe, and to speak truth over your body. I've seen a few people in my life that I like love and respect do this program fully, and it has like changed their life
completely. Yeah.
And then I'm reading a book right now called Mind Your Body by Nicole Sachs, and obviously I'm not all the way through it yet, so I would say generally I think it's like a really great book. But it's all about nervous system regulation so that you don't experience as much pain anymore. And so a huge part of that program is like fully emotionally processing what you're going through in life, and not internalizing all these awful feelings that we can all feel and experience, because life is really hard. And so that's been really challenging for me, because I've realized I'm kind of one of those types of people too that, kind of always puts a spin on things, where it's like, but everything's okay. Yeah. And it's tough because we need to be positive, but and we need to have hope, but we also can come and acknowledge and grieve, like we were saying, that not everything is the way it's supposed to be, and not everything is good. Yeah. And so it's a really healthy way for you to process all of these negative emotions in your body, so that you can actually move forward and be free from them. Yeah. And so, it's not just a matter of being positive and everything's going to be okay. You actually have to do the hard heart work of processing through your negative emotions. And I bet there's more inside of you than you probably let on. Yeah. And by doing that, that's what actually allows for you to not carry those negative emotions anymore. So if you feel like you're kind of stuck in the spiral of like you can't get out of it, like Meg said earlier, you're probably not fully grieving and processing through just the hard realities that you could be experiencing. So, because I bet if you're struggling with any sort of pain, whether that's pain, chronic pain, endometriosis, I mean, the list goes on and on of just like all of these like heavy, painful periods, headaches, fatigue. Those things will most definitely flare up when you're stressed and when you have a lot going on.
Yeah.
Or if you get like, if you have any like acne or skin disorders, like I guarantee you're gonna feel ill when life is hard. So yeah, I feel like I've learned a lot about that recently, where you have to really be on guard during seasons of like high levels of stress or loss or grief. So
and like putting things into place to be like, I need more margin.
I need more margin,
process and sleep
and care for myself.
Yes.
Yeah. If you have a lot going on in your life, you have to start saying no to other things and making sure that you are taking care of yourself. And you might need way more increasive care during those times. So
that makes sense.
But here's some practical piece of advice. Maybe I feel like, practical thing I'll leave you with is I think a really good activity for people who just have any sort of suffering and pain is just starting to really identify like what you love most in life and just trying to continue to cultivate a life of beauty and new experiences and laughter and fun, where I think sometimes the best antidote to like any of these hardships is just doing the exact opposite of like death, basically. I kind of just always see sickness and pain as death because it ultimately is kind of the beginning of that in some degree, which is like this hard reality, but it really is. So it's like, okay, how can I just create more life in my life? Life in my life.
Yeah.
That was so confusing. How can I create more life in my life? That's
good.
And so, maybe right now, like, things are really tough. Like, obviously people, I mean, it's literally romanticizing the little things. Like, you could have the absolute worst circumstances, like, fathom, like, the most worst circumstances possible. Like, let's say you're in, like, a hospital and you're struggling with, like, cancer and you're about to die. But, like, what's going to bring you joy is, like, a loved one, like, coming in and, like, telling you a story or making you laugh or reminding you of happy times or bringing you flowers or a little treat to pick you up. Where I think it's just whenever we can create beauty in our life or create beauty in someone else's life, that's genuinely how we fight against the death and destruction of chronic pain and of illness and sickness. And so I would say that's honestly my best piece of advice is just to like continue to create beauty where you're at, even when it's really, really hard and it takes everything in you. I think it's like the most important thing we can do. It's kind of like even when someone dies, we have a celebration, even though it's hard and funerals are hard, but we like how we cope is we eat a meal together and we tell stories and we laugh. And so although it's like the hardest thing to do, it's I think one of the best things we possibly can do is just to create beauty where we're at. So
no, it's good. I feel like that's something that I've definitely seen you do so well over the last few years. Like I remember when it was like a hard, dark season, but how much like life you've like cultivated since then is so cool. Of just like you definitely know what your purpose is and what you've been called to and what you're like called to steward, and you've done that. And I feel like even though you still experience hard things and hard days, your life is very full. And what's cool is that's like the whole point and mission of 20s is to encourage women to live life to the fullest. No, literally, I'm holding back sobs right now. But
sorry, don't look at me, girls.
Which I think that's just really cool. Like that's always been the heart, and like you've had to like learn how to do that like really well, and like actually have authority to like speak into like girls' lives now, to like you can fight for life and live life to the fullest, and like it's good, it's worth it. So
it is worth it. Thanks, friend. That's so good.
Yeah.
I'm just so appreciative of you. Like, honestly, Mega's such a good friend. And, like, yeah, when you have good people around you when you're walking through stuff, it's like, that is, like, a support system that advocates for you and loves you and cares for you and fights for your dreams and for, like, the beauty in my life. Like, that's genuinely, I feel like, what you do so much of is, like, you support me in so much of, like, the dreams that I have. And I'm just so grateful for you.
That would be great. Well, maybe we should end there.
Well, this was good. Honestly, kind of exhausting just talking about it. I feel like
it's valid.
Although it's good, it's like, well, now I'm tired.
Yeah. Andy said
I hope it helped one of you guys.
I'm sure. Our friend said this recently. Like, you have to give yourself space after you share your story with somebody where it is just like a huge part of you and it is very vulnerable.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of emotions that are attached to every little piece of the story.
Yeah.
And so they need to give yourself space today or a second to breathe. Like,
yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, that's good. That's really wise advice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like, yeah. That's good. We need our stories, though. Even though it's hard, it's not like it's, like, fun.
What I always love, though, is there's this verse in the Bible that says, like, the enemy is defeated by the blood of Jesus and the testimony. And I feel like so many people's, like, testimonies truly bring people, like, freedom and healing and life. And so the enemy is defeated when someone shares that he, like, doesn't get to win in like a story or a situation. So,
and the other one is the testimony of Jesus is the spirit of prophecy, which, if you're not familiar, prophecy is basically just encouragement and like life. It's like speaking life and encouragement and truth over somebody. And, like, the testimony of Jesus, like, also is the testimony of my life. Like, Jesus' testimony lives within inside of me. So, by me sharing my testimony of what the Lord has done in my life and what Jesus has done and what his sacrifice has done for me, like, it genuinely is the spirit of encouragement over people's life.
Yeah, that's good.
So, it's like, yeah, we kind of need to discipline ourselves to doing it. So, yeah.
Thanks for sharing.
Oh, thanks for listening, guys. Yeah, the Lord's been really kind in the midst of hard things, and I know he'll do the same for you. And yeah, if you're kind of in the thick of it and you don't feel like you can see the light, like, light is coming. Like, I believe that so full-heartedly, just walking through so much, like, there is light, and you will experience it, and other people will experience the light from you walking through this. So yeah, keep going is just the other thing. Yeah, don't let the enemy destroy your life. So yeah, but I think that's a wrap.
That's good. Wow, I really want to sob right now still. Fighting back all the tears.
Let's go sob and eat some lunch.
That sounds good. All right.
Thanks for listening.
We love you guys.
Bye.